Good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you again in this third session of today's FDP. We will just wait for another 2 to 4 minutes for other participants to join. Then we will be beginning with our third session. All of you, please keep your mic on mute and turn off your camera for a better reception. We will take a group picture after this session, so stay connected with us. Let other participants join.
डॉक्टर सुयश, बाकी लोगों को मैं नहीं देख पाऊंगी स्क्रीन पे, सिर्फ मैं ही देख पाऊंगी अपने को।
मैम, आप अपने आप को भी देख पाएंगे और स्क्रीन भी देख पाएंगे, पर जब आप फुल स्क्रीन में शेयर करेंगे तब आपको केवल आपकी पीपीटी दिखाई देगी मैम।
अच्छा, और बाकी लोग नहीं दिखेंगे मुझे?
नहीं, अभी नहीं दिखाई देंगे मैम। जैसे ही आप स्टॉप करेंगे प्रेजेंटिंग तब आपको सभी लोग दिखाई देंगे।
अच्छा, ओके। और मुझे 2 वॉलंटियर्स भी चाहिए जो बीच में मैं कुछ क्वेश्चन आंसर्स करूंगी तो वो मेरे को रिस्पॉन्ड करें कि किसने बाकी पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने क्या आंसर कर रहे हैं। तो उसके लिए वो 2 वॉलंटियर कौन मिलेंगे मुझे?
मैम, पूरी टीम अवेलेबल रहेगी। आप जो भी क्वेश्चन पुटअप करेंगे उसका आंसर पार्टिसिपेट्स करेंगे अपने आप अनम्यूट करके या चैट में लिखेंगे।
नहीं तो चैट पढ़ करके भी कोई चाहिए मेरे को जो बताता रहे, क्योंकि मैं जब
जी
तो चैट में हेल्प के लिए कोई चाहिए मेरे को।
हाँ जी मैम, आदित्य आपके साथ रहेंगे। आदित्य आपको चैट में आए हुए क्वेश्चंस या कुछ और रिप्लाई के वो बताते रहेंगे।
ठीक है, ठीक है
जी मैम, जी।
थैंक यू। एक पेन और एक पेन पेपर चाहिए।
So, in this third session, I would like to welcome you all again. As I can see, Professor has joined us. I would like to invite Professor Pankaj Madan sir for his tips for this session for a new shloka. And let us hear from Professor Pankaj Madan sir before we begin this session. Sir.
I heartily welcome Professor Gunmana Suri. She is a very, very dynamic professor of management and especially on leadership. I think it will be a wonderful session and she'll be sharing her wisdom with all our participants. I welcome her from deep of my heart to the session. Before going on to the session, I would like to share a very small mantra which says that Chupesam Vajma Hara Namah, which means that the actor should or leader should always strive for the growth of the organization, growth of employees of that organization. So with this shloka, I welcome Professor Gunmala and request her to continue with her session. Welcome, ma'am.
I would like to invite Aditya to introduce our today's session speaker.
Didi? Yes, sir.
Aditya?
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you, sir, for bringing me on board. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back on the Leadership Faculty Development Program. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's final session, who is going to talk about presentation skills for leadership. And I believe that this is of significant relevance and we should all be deeply interested in this. Our speaker is acknowledged with the Devang Mehta National Education Award, Women in Education Leadership. Our speaker is having more than 25 years of combined teaching as well as industrial experience. Ma'am possesses insightful corporate exposure in business coaching, consulting, human resource, and operations. Ma'am is presently serving her excellence at Punjab University, Chandigarh. Ma'am is an active resource person for FDPs, MDPs, and corporate training and has traveled to many countries as an invited speaker. Our speaker undertook many research projects in close association with government organizations and well-established privately owned organizations. As far as publications are concerned, Ma'am has published over 90 papers in many globally reputed journals in the field of leadership, knowledge management, innovation, in applied research, innovation management, and total quality management. Ma'am is also nominated as board member at various universities as the subject matter expert in the management domain. So, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Professor Dr. Gunmala Suri, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you very much for your time and joining us. And finally, at last, ma'am, we can't wait enough to learn from your rich and diversified experience. So I request you to impart your wisdom on us. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Aditya. First of all, I'd like to say my special thanks to Professor Pankaj, who has given me opportunity to interact with you, so diversified group of people. In the morning session, I was just watching more than 150 participants were online. So if this program has happened in Professor Pankaj premises in the university, so this much of participants is really difficult to gather. So this is the online platform and the opportunity for all of us to reach, to interact, to sharpen our skills with this platform, to enjoy the beauty of online as well as keeping at home at a safer place. So thank you so much, Professor Pankaj. You have given me this opportunity to meet and greet online my participants. As the title suggests, presentation skills. Aditya has already mentioned about that. We are going to share complete an hour. I am going to say a few things of my experience, which I have gathered in the past couple of years. Maybe it's a personal or professional experience, but all goes under the heading of your leadership. Every person in the morning, when I heard Professor Amit and Professor Alok, they have shown you a number of pictures and shared their experience and the leadership. Before going into the detail of these special people, which have been pictures have been shared with you in the previous sessions, let me take you a small ride to my university. I am from the Punjab University. Few things Aditya has already mentioned about me. The next thing I would like to tell the people who are from different areas of India. So when we talk somebody, we start with from which university you have come, from which area of specialization you have. So I am from the area of operations and IT. Vis-a-vis, I am in the place of Chandigarh. Chandigarh, which is somewhere in north of the India. I have learned in the chat box, few people are from Kerala and South and Tamil Nadu and other states. Those have the privilege of online platform able to join. So I am here in Chandigarh, Punjab University, and Chandigarh is the capital of Punjab and Haryana, and it's a UT. My university, from where I am, is known as Punjab University. Few pictures of my university and my department. It was established in 1947. So presentation takes you to some other level. Are you ready? Can I have something on the chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, let's begin. Let's begin the music. I have learned from my mentors, whenever they start the presentation, some kind of a music is there. Maybe when we were in the schools, music of prayers. When we are in the cinema hall, music of some ads. When we are somewhere else, some kind of a music allures us. So music is the one thing you can incorporate when you say you are ready. I'm going to take you a roller coaster ride of the presentation. How you get a people actually engaged when you are putting the virtual meeting. It is a difficult task, of course. I can give you a few examples like stand-up comedians. You have heard you people of the younger generation, you are quite familiar with stand-up comedians. They crack different kind of jokes and they are standing there for a small thing, small act in kitchen, small act going and eating. They put it such an humor in that people are spending money, going there and enjoying the stand-up comedians. It is in the trend, or this is the new style of business. So how they do? They are also doing the way of presentation. Here I have few things on the slide, but they don't have anything on the slide. By standing, by body posture, or by talking to you, by cracking the anecdotes. So I'm going to take all these words one by one to you, and experiential learning will be going to take place in another 1 hour. I'll be taking the session complete 1 hour, and then we'll have a question answer session. I'm going to do a small activity with you, as all of you have the mobiles. Just for 15 seconds, you will switch on your mobiles and read something on the mobile. And after 15 seconds, you will come back and we will have a question answer session. Your time starts now. 15 seconds, everybody will open their mobile and go and see something. Yes, chat box is open for you. Participants who have seen their mobile for 10 to 15 seconds, can you people write something, what you have seen on the screen? Anyone can write that anybody has seen something on the screen? Yes. Okay. So a lot of chat box are saying somebody has started looking at their. They were looking at me on the screen when you were. How can you look me on the screen when you were on your mobile? Somebody has written a cartoon on the screen. How can you see the cartoon on the screen when I told you you are on the mobile? So the point here is, when one person is giving instruction, you can focus on that only area. This kind of an exercise I do when I am in the open class and I tell them to talk to your neighbor something. In between, I change the slide and ask them what was on the slide. So they cannot see what is on the slide. They were focusing on the next friend, what things they were sharing. Maybe they are sharing their names, maybe they are sharing their place of work or something or the other or anything. When you are talking to each other, you cannot focus on the slide. So that means the lesson number 1 is you cannot put concentration on one area, 2 places at a time. I'll give you another. It was a very interesting game we usually have when we are having in the class in the real time activities. The second part of it, I'm going to show you a small video, and please note down any 2 learnings, any 2 things which you like the most in this video. A small video of 2 minutes, and you have to just write down anything in the chat box you like it the most. Then we are going to talk why you like that. Then you unmute yourself and then just tell me why you like that. So I'm going to run that video for a few minutes.
Engagement is all about feelings. As Carl Buchner said, engagement is all about feelings. As Carl Buchner said, people will forget what you say, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Engagement is a measure of the team's emotional commitment to their leader, and it's critically important for the bottom line. In America, disengagement costs business over $350 billion a year, and in Australia, $45 billion. Gallup studies show only 30% of people are actively engaged despite all the attention on engagement. Do you really know how engaged your people are? In the engagement surveys I conduct, the average business has about 50% engaged and disengaged in total. This is a leader's first great opportunity. The remaining 50% sitting on the fence, waiting for a leader to engage them. I call this the leader's sweet spot. An actively engaged team member is around 30% more productive than a fence sitter, and retention is dramatically improved. So it's essential that leaders work this sweet spot. A leader's second opportunity is to disengage people or bad apples. Target them as well. Help them adjust their attitudes or help them find another job. Great leaders have emotional intelligence, but to really drive results and be exceptional, leaders need what I call EQ2, engagement intelligence. EQ2 involves really understanding your people, finding their individual motivators, and working on these hot buttons to improve morale, attitude, and results. In my book, The People Pill, and in my engagement presentations, we cover many strategies a leader can implement immediately. They cost virtually nothing and are guaranteed to make people feel great about themselves, which is a real secret to getting the best out of people and engaging them. Some of these strategies include 5-minute desk chats. These are a way to show people you care about them. Mary, what's on for the weekend? Sending out personalised handwritten cards that recognise specific contributions, are timely and from the heart. Morning teas to celebrate progress and success stories. Holding a breakfast of champions to acknowledge effort. Pretend people have a banner on their forehead. Make me feel special. Remember, people usually leave leaders, not organisations, and it's the line leader's responsibility for attitude and engagement. I recommend you measure your team engagement and implement strategies like the ones above. Focus on that sweet spot to bring everyone along and create a culture of engagement. It really will change your bottom line and retain and attract the best people. If you think of the best boss you ever had, it'll be someone who helped you believe in yourself, cared about you, and developed and inspired you. In other words, they engaged you. Become a master of EQ2 and be the best boss your team ever had.
Madam, may I?
Yes, please.
I'm Neeraj Mohan Puri, and I'm leading an K-12 institution in Punjab at Pathankot.
Okay,
And,
nice to meet you.
It is all about, engagement. And precisely in this video, the message is about engagement, about less engaged people, how engagement can be enhanced and increased. If we want to have a high performing team, we want Navratnas in our team, we want champions. So then we have to make the team more engaged, and through our insights, by setting the competency mapping, we have to find out the people who are underengaged, less engaged, because less engaged people would be disastrous for your organization. Either you need to use some strategies to engage them, or else you need to show the door outside. And then it talks giving high importance to emotional quotient. That is, in this current scenario, as a great leader, only your IQ doesn't work. You should be very strong with your emotional quotient too, so that you can build a strong team. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have almost told everything which the Gallup has said in the whole big, hefty book, and you have tried to summarize in a nice way. Thank you so much for supporting me.
Can I do it, ma'am?
Yes, please. Anybody else? Yes, please.
Yes, it's Aarti from SGS Nanded, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Apart from engagement, what I liked in the video is that being a leader, you should be capable enough of handling the people's, in a sense, how you make them feel, how you make them feel great about themselves, how you appreciate them about the achievements. So the morale of people in the team has to be improved or has to be taken care by the leader. Apart from giving the engagement, that is the one of the message which I was able to perceive from my side.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that means video was clear, loud, and able to tell you about the things what I want to. So the leader should have that kind of charisma when he or she speaks. Rest of the people of the organization, of the school, of the institution, of the class should listen to him or her. So he or she has to be prepared in some way or the other way. So how can we do that? I'll share a small example. In the month of May, IAMS has given us a call to learn how to teach online. So I was not very keen about that, but the second thought was, let me understand what the IM people are talking about. So I joined the program. When I joined that, two objectives were very clear to me. I want to see how I can sharpen my skills, XYZ skills I have. Almost everyone who in the group have some kind of a skills, but we want to sharpen because there is always scope for improvement. And the second part was I want to see how my IM faculty members are teaching as compared to us non-IM people.
तो मेरे में जियो फीचर ही नहीं रहा
So
अभी MTNL पे लगाया तो एक फटाफट आ रहा
keeping in mind that two objectives, I joined the program. And lot of activities were there. One of the activity was some kind of that thing. They have divided the class of 60 into group of 6 students. So 10 groups were framed. When 10 groups were framed, so everybody, the meeting was in the Zoom. We were divided into the rooms, and each room, 10 people, video was on, and we were chatting. Out of the 10, only 8 people video was on, and we keep on poking to the 2 people, please switch on the video, please switch on the video. And this session was approximately 12 minutes. In 12 minutes, we have to do some activity. And in that activity, they people never turned on their videos because they were not there physically. They have simply logged in and they just disappeared somewhere else. So that was my first learning. If the video is not on for the people, it is not compulsory. They are physically or mentally there. If they are not physically, mentally there, how can they learn or how can they sharpen the skills? If we have 200 people in our participants, they want to become a leader, so they have to be active. at least some input should be given. Everybody is not expert in all the fields. You may be expert more than me in many of the things. So it's better to learn vice versa. But for that, you have to be active. So leader has to be active. His presentation should be so engaging, the rest of the people should be active to participate. So I'm so happy that you people have given a feedback of what you have seen in that particular kind of a slide.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Please share your screen again.
हाँ वो बंद कैसे हो गई मैंने तो
Ma'am, please share your screen again. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
किया नहीं अपने आप ही हो गया. I have not done anything. On the same lines, which I have shared my experience, I'm going to show you Martin Luther thoughts, how Martin Luther engaged people. The name is quite familiar with you. I was thinking, which person would you like to have? So I have thought of many people. I have thought of a story of a Maji who has made the road in the mountain after cutting it for the complete 30 years. So I want to show that story. Then I was thinking of some other leader. So then I was thinking some other person from which country. So I just narrow down all these things to Martin Luther and just see how beautifully this leader is talking. Each word is crystal clear. He means that word that he is speaking. He is not mincing the words. He is not putting the unnecessary pauses. Every pause is important. And emphasize the words which he wants to say. Dream is important. He is playing with the dreams. He is showing the dreams and he is emphasizing the dreams. So I really like this video. I hope you people will also enjoy watching this. Video is clear?
Yes, madam.
So even though
Yes, ma'am.
we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream. My poor little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of imposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. Every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is a faith that I go back to the salt pit. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of.
So I hope it is clear how Martin Luther is telling. Can you understand the pauses and they emphasize what he was giving? Anyone can unmute and want to share something about the Martin Luther speech?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
What he has said, shall I just say a few points of it?
Yes, Amina.
He has a dream that talks about just not for today, for even for tomorrow. Dream he had for not for just Americans, all the other countries from Mississippi to Georgia, from Red Hills to all those nations he talked about. He talked about all the things that one day how the racism of black and white would go, and there won't be any discrimination with respect to the racism or color. Then he talked about all the simple or smallest things wherein the mountain and hills are being spoked, and wherein the crooked roads will become straightened, and the mountains will have a path or a direction. Next, he talked about the small thing, or in a big manner, the transformation of all the nations, all the pieces into a one nation.
Yes, absolutely. So he was.
As a good orator, I would love to add, as a good orator, your poise, your tone, your intonation, and it should not be like a avalanche of words when you are delivering a speech.
Absolutely, Dr. Puri, you have said it nicely. If I say something, you should modulate or demodulate your voice. The impact would have not been as I have shown you the video of Martin Luther, that the impact is going to be much more as compared to talking to you one-to-one and putting the bullet points on the slide. You should have modulation in the voice. You agree with me, I hope? I hope you agree with me. Modulation of the voice is important.
Yes, ma'am. It's very much required.
Yes.
That is just like the role of blood in our body.
Blood flows in a constant speed, but modulation of voice is little. You have to pause somewhere.
You can correlate it with the lifeline or with the pumping of our heart.
Pumping of heart is compulsory, mandatory, it should be there. But modulation, demodulation is something like that. When it is required, then you are going to have it. Not all the time. All the time you are not supposed to speak. Few times your body language speaks then more than the words. So I'm coming to that. Steve Jobs has the same kind of a thinking. He says, your presentation should not be full of words. People should know their subject. They know how to talk. Whenever we have seen Steve Jobs, he was never in the suit attire. He was simple in the tee and the jeans and the shoes. But most of the presentation, when some CEO is coming on the stage, he or she is in a formal attire. He has so much of confidence of the product, of his knowledge, that he speaks from the heart. So attire is the secondary thing. Of course, we always emphasize when it is a corporate presentation, corporate attire is must. But few exceptions are there, and Steve Jobs is for that. So I'm going to share a small saying or small skill set which Steve Jobs possesses while he was presenting his new products. When he comes with a Mac, then how he presented? He presented the Mac in a brown envelope. So he wanted to show that my Mac is as thin as a brown thin envelope can sustain it. And he was holding the Mac on his hand, that it is so light also. By showing the gesture, he is able to express two things, weight and weight and light. So I'm going to take you to the video, what he is showing and saying how much you should put on the slides. You should be ruthless in cutting down the words as minimum as possible. You should not have full slide with number of words, number of sentences. It should not be hot up. So this next presentation will tell you what are the main pointers you keep on mind while you are presenting for something extraordinary. I would also like that you people should also note down one or two pointers which you like out of that. Although there are 7 or 8 pointers that everyone should think of. You cannot incorporate all the 7, 8 in one presentation, but few of them are incorporated, then they make your presentation excellent. How beautifully he is presenting. No words are there, only 2 lines, and with a very small words. And he is able to express his feelings in the product. Best of the thing I like that he said, edit ruthlessly. As much as minimum is possible, put the words over there. Say something, your slide should talk about hundreds of words which one picture can tell. He tries to play with numbers. He quickly multiply the things and put the things which rest of the people can understand quickly. In $1 this much, how much in $10? Or if $10 is this much, how much you will get in €1? Yet the same things are there. As Martin Luther was in a different time frame, Steve Jobs was on a different time frame, but the focus of their words were dreams. How you take your audience to the dream, how you take your students, your listeners to what is their dream, and you are talking about their dream. If that comes out, then you are the successful person. That was I was mentioning. He just introduced the MacBook in such a way. How beautifully he has said. Anybody would like to comment on this? He has literally done a magic on that.
These simple points that has been given in steps of 7 can be incorporated in our day to now. Everything is online. In our online teaching, using our presentation, we can go with all these 7 points to engage our students.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautifully, he has said, and small, it is not very difficult. We are not able to incorporate. Only thing is, we are not sensitized. So here I am going to take a roller coaster ride in such a way that all things you know, but you have to just emphasize that we have to incorporate that. So here comes another story which I remember. Once I went to CII program where Abhinav Bindra was there. And Abhinav Bindra, you know, international shooter. People were asking different kind of a question. One question I really like that, and I remember still today. He said the difficult task for me was unlearn. So I was not very clear what he wants to say. Then he clarified that my coach is there. He every day I'm doing a practice, and while doing a practice, he is observing me that these steps which you are performing for the past couple of days is not correct. You have to leave them and try to do with these kind of things. So this unlearn process was the hardest task for me. Similarly, the leader or anybody, we are all human beings. We are also having some kind of a traits. So if we unlearn things which are not going to make us effective, we can have a magic trick make us more effective. Similarly, if we have the John Tolley says, he said we have always anecdotes in our daily life. We usually say only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. Only the teachers we are teaching every day online, we know how difficult is this. So many times students say our network is not working. So many times we have to do a number of things at home. So many times people switch on their mics, telling them n number of times, please mute yourself, please mute yourself. We want to say the students, please switch on your video so we can see you are there or not. But only the wearer knows where the shoe pinches. Teachers can understand how difficult for them. In the class, they can see the students, they can see the mood, they can understand what he is doing. But when it is online, he's playing on the mobile or sleeping on the pillow while the class is on. So only if you have experienced the things, then only the things will be much more easier for you. If you want to tell something to the students or anybody in your organization, you should have some story to tell. And Jeff Bezos is the best. He is telling a story to differentiate between kindness and cleverness. He was very small, of 10 years old. Then he was going with his grandparents. So his grandma was smoking so much. He said, I was 10 years old and my grandma was smoking so much that I was feeling very bad. And I was so small, 10 years, I just learned few things about addition, multiplication, how much we are spending on our pocket money, or how much is this particular item cost, or how to do multiplication, small mathematics or things, statistics I have learned. And somewhere I have read, if by the one puff you just lost 2 days of your life. So I was thinking, for the past 1 hour we have traveled from home to, we are going to somewhere, and my grandma is puffing so much and I literally hate her. But I was so small, of 10 years, I cannot say all these things in front of grandfather. So I calculated if she
This is not coming, madam.
mathematics, and I tapped on, after doing all the mathematics, then confidence was built up. Then I tapped to my grandmother's shoulder. Grandma, what are you doing? You have just spoiled the day and you have so much of smoking. You have lost your 7 years of your health. And the moment I said, my grandmom start weeping. And my grandfather, he never abused me. He was an intelligent man. I was thinking I will be patted with my grandfather or something like that, but my grandma started weeping. So I don't know what to do. I was so small, 10 years, and my grandfather looked at me and he has taken the car in the side, stopped the car, taken me out of the car, and I was thinking he's going to appreciate me or who is going to give me a slap. I was wondering all these things, but he was so clever, quiet, and intelligent. He has taken me into the corner of the road and he said, Jeff, one day you will understand the difference between kindness and cleverness. Such a beautiful way he has explained to differentiate. If you want to say something to others, you should have a nice way. Giving a slab is a very easy task. I'll just take you to this roller coaster ride, how the Jeff is explaining his experience, how the leaders are telling you. Just have a listen to him.
Hi, welcome. I was about 10 years old. I was rolling around in the big bench seat in the back of the car. My grandfather was driving, and my grandmother had the passenger seat. She smoked throughout these trips, and I hated the smell. At that age, I'd take any excuse to make estimates and do minor arithmetic. I'd calculate our gas mileage, figure out useless statistics on things like grocery spending. I'd been hearing an ad campaign about smoking. I can't remember the details, but basically the ad said, every puff of a cigarette takes some number of minutes off of your life. I think it might have been 2 minutes per puff. At any rate, I decided to do the math for my grandmother. I estimated the number of cigarettes per day, estimated the number of puffs per cigarette, and so on. When I was satisfied that I'd come up with a reasonable number, I poked my head into the front of the car, tapped my grandmother on the shoulder, and proudly proclaimed, at 2 minutes per puff, you've taken 9 years off of your life. I have a very vivid memory of what happened next. And it was not what I had expected. I expected to be applauded for my cleverness and my arithmetic skills. Jeff, you're so smart. You had to have made some tricky estimates. Figure out the number of minutes in a year. Do some division. That's not what happened.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Lifetime access at skilla.com gives you access to all the existing courses available on the website.
Been hearing an ad campaign about smoking. I think it might have been 2 minutes per puff. At any rate, I decided to do the math for my grandmother. I estimated the number of cigarettes per day, estimated the number of puffs per cigarette, and so on. When I was satisfied that I'd come up with a reasonable number, I poked my head into the front of the car, tapped my grandmother on the shoulder, and proudly proclaimed, "At 2 minutes per puff, you've taken 9 years off of your life." I have a very vivid memory of what happened next. And it was not what I had expected. I expected to be applauded for my cleverness and my arithmetic skills. "Jeff, you're so smart. You had to have made some tricky estimates. Figure out the number of minutes in a year. Do some division." That's not what happened. Instead, my grandmother burst into tears. I sat in the back seat, didn't know what to do, while my grandmother was crying. My grandfather, who'd been driving in silence, pulled over onto the shoulder of the highway. He got out of the car and came around and opened my door and waited for me to follow. Was I in trouble? My grandfather was a highly intelligent, quiet man. He had never said a harsh word to me. Maybe this was to be the first time. Or maybe he would ask that I get back in the car and apologize to my grandmother. I had no experience in this realm with my grandparents and no way to gauge what the consequences might be. We stopped beside the trailer. My grandfather looked at me, and after a bit of silence, he gently and calmly said, "Jeff, one day you'll understand that it's harder to be kind than clever."
So beautiful. I really like that. He has to convey the things in a nice and subtle way. He was addressing the students recently graduated. So he wants to say them, be kind to the people. So by saying his life learning, he's able to convey the message. Similar kind of a message the leader can show in this picture, which is on your screen. You are familiar with the Sudha Murti. And this picture was recently 3 or 4 days back. It was in the newspaper. I really like that. She said, every month, 1 day, 2 hours, I spend near the temple and cut the vegetable for the what we call in the Punjab side langar. And you can say the lunch or the eatables provided for the people who are visiting the temple. So to be human, be humble, be grounded, you have not to show them, not to say them, you have to perform them, the same kind of a humbleness to rest of the people by performing the same kind of a duty. So beautiful picture, I really like that. So I thought I must share with you. If you want to inculcate something in the group of people, just to your students somewhere down the line, somewhere, anywhere, you have to perform that particular kind of a thing, and that will remain subtle throughout the life. The numbers will not remain the same. The numbers will not stay in your mind, but the kind of pictures or the kind of way you express them always remain in the mind. Here comes the another story of education, how the leader Parikar, you all are aware, our defense minister. Anybody has heard of this melons of Parikar, melons of Para? If anybody has some idea, can you unmute yourself and say something about melons of Para? Those who are in the South or Goa, it's quite famous. And I have picked up from the speech of Parikar. He has talked about all these things about the education system in September. Yes, please, anyone?
Ma'am, I think good quality watermelon.
Yes, good quality. It is related to good quality watermelon. It's
Yeah, and size is also means
size, quality, right? And how you can say,
Sweetness,
yes, please.
sweetness.
Okay, sweetness, right?
So the watermelon was highly prized for its sweetness, is seeing a revival within an increasing number of farmers growing that food in a particular area.
Okay, okay. What else? I'm going to share with you the real speech of Parikar, how Parikar told us what is the importance of education in the system and how he has correlated with the paras, watermelons of para. So I just want to know if anybody has heard, people are from South, are they aware of the para watermelons or anything, nuances, because we have diversified participants and you have much more experience than me. I have never been to para, so I have no experience, only I have heard, and I really thoroughly enjoyed. And it's so inspiring. Every word is so sweet, sweet like a watermelon. Anybody else? Should I run the video? It's a quick video, and the story goes like that. What the Parikar says, I am from Goa, and this which area I am from, that is known as Para. So that is why we are Parikars. One thing. The second thing is, when I was small, maybe 8, 9 years old or 10 years old, there was some kind of a feast in the market. The farmer used to give us a big watermelon, and they say you can eat as much as you can. The only condition is that you cannot eat the seeds. There is a basket in which you have to split the seeds, and you can eat as much watermelons as much you can. So the Parker says, I was very happy about this feast because whenever my father brings a watermelon, so he brings only one watermelon, and in which we all brother, sister, parents, and grandparents have to eat. So I get a very small portion of watermelon whenever my father brings. But when this feast is happening in our village, we are allowed to eat as much as you can. So he was impressed while studying. This was a childhood story. Then he said, I was grown up and went to IIT, and when I was in IIT, I have read something on genetics also. So when I was posted here as a chief minister, I asked them, where are the para watermelons? So they said, these are the watermelons of para. He says, when I was small, these big ones are there, and now these are so small. What happened to them? So nobody has answered because he has studied the genetics. He started exploring, talking to people, asking them, went to the village. He just on back of his mind, he thought of what has happened when I was small. These were small wigs. Now the size has shrunk within 7.5 of an years. What is the reason? So he has explored the thing. When he was small, the owner of the farm was used to give us a big watermelon, bigger one. So when the kids were eating the watermelon, they were spitting the seeds of the bigger watermelon. That means next year, when the watermelon will be grown from these big seeds. But his son has taken over, what he has started doing, he has selling the bigger one to the market to fetch the more money, and smaller one for the seed picking. So he said, Parikar says, he, while doing this kind of a thing, what he has done, he has spoiled the vegetation. From bigger seeds to seeds have converted to small ones. So the cycle of this watermelon is 1 year. In 7 years, the bigger watermelon has converted to a smaller watermelons. Now we can see only small ones. So similarly, in the education system, the time span of education, one cycle is 25 years. So after, if you are not imparting good education system, after 4 generations, means 200 years, you will have the impact. How beautifully he has said. Just have a look. I'm really impressed with his talks.
Of mine, and I'll mention it again with, in spite of repetition, it's very important story. It's about my village, which is called as Para. That's why we are Parika. So, 2 years back, I was in Goa, and I was visiting a village. So, I was visiting the village, and there was a farmer. So, he was So I come from that childhood was spent there. And that in Goa we have villages and places for different products. You may be also in that Anand ka doodh, दुनिया भर का. जैसे हमारे इधर my village was known for watermelons, good quality of. My childhood, this village probably grew so many watermelons which were supplied almost for major part of Goa. And in May month, when the watermelon season is to get over, the farmers were calling all the kids from the village to their farms. The festival was to eat watermelon. Watermelon eating festival. I always thought great about that farmer. Even he is better than my father because हमारा पिताजी घर में आता है उसमें एक लेके आता है तो तुम्हारा कोटा लिमिटेड होगा फार्मर्स के इसके फार्म के ऊपर जाओ there is no quota. You can eat as much as you want. So I used to always compare the two scenarios. 5 years, 6 years. Did not understand. But I grew up. I realized that I have a liking for genetics. In fact, in IITs also I took supplementary and a lot of reading on it. I realized as I grew up and read more about genetics that a farmer was very smart. He put up one condition. While he allowed us to eat as much as we want, he said that the seed should not be the seed को चबाना मत और वो बाजू वाले टोकरी में. That was the condition, very small. So we were happy, but I didn't realize that actually the farmer was using us as a free child labor. We were very intelligent. Just think of it. If you have put up a daily labor, एक कलिंगड़ का जो सीड्स रहता है वो निकालने में कम से कम 100 रुपया खर्चा आ जाए. कलिंगड़ 50 रुपया का और सीड निकालने के लिए 100 रुपया. बिकॉज दे आर वेरी बट अगर बच्चे लोग खाएं तो वो सीड थूके तो ऑटोमेटिक even with 10% loss he gets 90% of the seeds. After IIT I went once to market to buy a kalinga and I asked them I want kalinga from Para. One was selling it, said that abhi Para mein kalinga hota nahi. I was slightly shocked because it was only gap of about 6.5 years. Because my 5 years graduation, almost 2 years post graduation completed. So 6.5 years, I came back. Right, there were no watermelons in my village. It was known for them. So what happened? I started investigating. Realized that father's son who started eating this watermelon. Mother was giving less. It was not giving less. Bigger the watermelon, the
Unmute.
started keeping the smaller one.
Participants, please unmute yourself.
We did smaller watermelon next year. That continued for 3-4 years, and finally they become very small, not worth it. Those were not days of hybrid seed. About 4 years back, we got back to the village because the ground is good, the soil is fertile for that kind of. It's closer to Kalangut. There's a lot of sandy soil, but with a lot of water also. So it's a good yield. Now they are giving again. The danger part I like to bring to you. The elder farmer was keeping best for the next generation. The younger one started selling the best and keeping smaller one average with the next generation. And in watermelon, the generation change takes place once in a year. So I knew about it in 7 years. Complete destruction of a product line. Case of humans, the generation changes every 25. It will take you 200 years to realize that by not providing best for the education, you have destroyed your generation. I think of mine.
So that's it. I hope you like the story. The way I want to tell you of by the different people, different leaders, how they present their values, what they want to say, they have something to tell. Whatever I have discussed in past 1 hour, it's already 3:05. So I have just sum up the pointers which we have already talked upon. We have just pondered upon. Instead of saying everything, you can understand these by just simple reading. Whenever I go to some conference, I usually reach half an hour before. When I have a presentation, I would like to talk to people who are going to listen to me, from which area they were, what is their specialization, what are their interests, what subject they are teaching, what kind of habits they have, what kind of books they are reading. So whenever I am presenting, I am going to present my topic, I try to correlate. All these things will help me to make my confidence. Otherwise, presentation, anyone, maybe a Steve Jobs, maybe anybody, any leader of our country or any other country, they have some kind of a phobia. And that phobia is quite natural. You cannot escape from that, but you have to prepare yourself for that. So these are the pointers which I have just listed down for you people. Think over, take a screenshot, and this PPT will be shared with you. Keep on thinking about them, try to improve them, try to inculcate them. If you inculcate 50% of them, that is excellent, because no one is perfect. We have to have a few things with us, few things we learn from others' experience, few things we commit mistake, and then we are prepared for tough kind of questions, as I hope I will be having with my audience. They are all experts in that. Before concluding, there is something known as the another kind of resources of the softwares where you can make the presentation. PowerPoint, we all are aware of, or we are using it. PowerPoint is something like that, Maruti, and Canva, Breezy, and Slide Dog, and many other. These are the few I have listed the name. Is something like you are shifting from Maruti to Harmony Honda, Kinetic to any other car or BMW. So it will take some time to understand or use them, but basics are the same. Features are there in the Maruti. Same kind of a system is available to the rest of the softwares. They have the menu drivens you can use. The best part is of the Canva and Breezy is there. You can use them on anywhere because it's a net based. Whenever you log in to the PowerPoint, you have to download and you have to have some kind of a problems in opening the file. If you have your presentation Canva or Breezy, the presentation will be much more comfortable or much more frames are available. I have seen my presentation. My presentation was prepared in Canva. So it depends upon you which platform you want to use. You can change, you can experiment. There are a lot of videos available. Must listen to some TED Talks, and that is going to enhance your skills. It is. I have taken something on brief. You can watch it later on, as my time is over. 3:09. The last pointer here is when a key takeaway from my presentation. Our audience is like this. They don't want to see more words. Some very small. They don't want to listen if the speaker is continuously speaking. So you have to think before you speak and give them some time to digest so that they are amazed or the listeners are surprised. Then what comes? So all these things are 3 takeaways from my side to you people. All the best. Thank you so much. You are open to the questions, please. Stay connected. My number and email is there. My Facebook page. I'm not so active on Facebook. My LinkedIn is there. You can connect me any of the places. So all the best to my listeners. Thank you so much. Over to you, Aditya. Aditya, over to you. My side, I'm over. Any questions, you can unmute yourself. You can ask me. I'm done with it. I hope you liked the presentation. I don't know what was your expectation. I'm able to fulfill your expectation or not, because the expectation was not set by the people. Whatever I thought it is quite relevant to the previous two topics, I try to gel with it.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
according to you, how much does attire matters for presentation?
It matters. It matters a lot. It depends. You are presenting in a Western world or in Eastern world, or which area. If you should be blend with that particular, it matters a lot. Always. Nobody. I'll just give you a small example, and you may laugh on it. We are taking is pandemic. You just forget about the pandemic. Before the pandemic, before the March, we are taking classes, normal classes. In our class, 30, 40, 60, 80, 20, whatever the number is assigned to us, students are coming into the class. Nobody and nowhere in your college, school, university is written, you cannot come school in the night suit. But no one I have seen has come in the night suit, nor even in the swimming costume. Anybody has joined your class in the swimming costume? No.
Never.
Never. But nowhere it is written you cannot come in the swimming costume. So that is known as the attire which we are expecting. We are not writing, but it is mandatory. You should come in some attire which is acceptable to the society. So attire is important.
As we have discussed with the Steve Jobs example,
right.
It started with he wasn't that very particular about the attire, but there are very few people. When successful people, anything will do.
Of course.
In the sense ki with Steve Jobs, we will say ki okay, but at the very first impression, how much does it matters? That was my expectation in that particular direction.
Unless and until you are not reached the place of Steve Jobs, your attire is matter. That is my answer.
Yes.
If you are Steve Jobs, nothing matters. So that's my answer. I hope I satisfy you.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any more questions from the participants? You can ask.
Ma'am, I would like to ask one question.
Please, one by one. Yes, yes.
Hello, madam. I am Rajesh Baby.
Yes,
Hello?
Dr. Rajesh. Yes, Dr. Rajesh, आप chat box में one by one लिख दीजिए कि I will speak next, I will speak next. So that would be quite comfortable for everyone to talk.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Rajesh, you can start, and then next, the second.
Okay. Yeah, madam, can you give all these examples are excellent, and madam, can you give some example from the academic field about this academic leadership? Can you give some examples from the academic field?
What particular thing you are looking? I have given the academic. Nobody is coming in the swimming costume or the night suit in our class. This is from academics, I think. What particular thing? Here, my topic is how the leaders present. So here, leader is our teacher. As a teacher, we are leaders for the students. So what we should do, I think that is what I have comprehended by the title. As a teacher, what we should do it. if I can understand correctly. Aditya, is it okay?
Okay, madam. Now, what I was thinking, so you have given so many examples and that's actually CEOs of companies and all. But is there, can we take somebody that, okay, he is from academic side and that leadership, whether we can emulate or because Steve Jobs and that position, it's very difficult to reach.
I understand. I 100% agree. Teachers, yes. Sometimes I can tell you a small example from my life. Students usually, I'm not saying it is always happening. It may happen or may not. Sometime you may be wrong or may be correct. Something has happened with me. One of my students, he was always coming late to my class. My class starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. So 4-5 minutes, it's okay. I usually allow students to get in my class. But one of my students usually comes at 8:30. Once and twice I have noticed and I told him not to come. Again, third, fourth day, fifth day, he again comes to my class. So I allowed him. Then I told him, please meet me in my office. I called him, what has happened? He said, ma'am, I don't have a mother and I have to cook breakfast for myself and my father. So I have no words to say. What should I say if he has this kind of a problem? But I cannot tolerate he is coming every day at 8:30 while rest of my students are coming at 8 o'clock. So that means I should allow everyone to come at 8:30. They have a number of things to do, and similarly, I also have a number of things. I have a family and kids, and everything I have to do for household chores, and I'm coming at 8 o'clock in the class. That means I'm reaching 5 minutes to 8 to the university. Then only I can hold my class at 8 o'clock. So I asked him, coaxed him in such a way that I told him, please prepare everything, your breakfast in the night so that you can reach the class in time. It doesn't look good for me to scold you. And he burst into the tears. He said, okay, ma'am, I'll try to come on the time. But I don't know how he managed, but you can talk to them not in front of all the students, because students have n number of things to share which they don't want to share with the peer group. Peer pressure is there, as well as when you console them, you understand them. Are the student is genuine or not? Sometimes they may not be genuine. So few of my students are like that. They are doing business. They don't want to come to the class, and they think that if I'll come 5 minutes to the class and my attendance will be given to me. How is it possible? How can you do that justice to rest of the class when one student is coming 5 minutes to class ending and he is also getting the attendance, and rest who are coming at 8 o'clock will be given the attendance? So sometimes you have to rationalize, you have to think genuinely, call them, talk to them personally. Scolding a student is very easy, and talking to him and consoling him is a very difficult task. Very few faculty members or very few individuals have this kind of a trait to talk to them. I know many of you people have such kind of experience, maybe better than me, doing good for the students, and that's the way students will always be associated. One of my students, another good example, one of my students met me in the airline somewhere. I was traveling from Chandigarh to Bangalore, and I taught him 20 years back. Now he is some CEO in another company, multinational company. And he just met me. I could not recognize him when the students are studying, they are young and in 20s. Now he is in 40, 45, 50s. The health, the dimension, everything is changed. Difficult to recognize them. But he recognized me and said, ma'am, I will call you in my board of directors meeting. So they just give back to you sometime, which you never expect. So these are the very good experiences, examples, happens to your life, and you cherish the moments. You don't remember even which students you have taught them, and they remember you if you have done something good for them. That is my experience. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, ma'am. I have a question for you. It is Madhumati from Tamil Nadu. Ma'am, what's the science behind remembering only three things from a presentation?
The science is this: human brain cannot concentrate many things. Human brain concentrate one thing at a one time. अभी अगर मैं बात कर रही हूँ और अभी आपका बेबी शोर मचाता हुआ आ जाए तो आप मेरे को छोड़कर बेबी पे फोकस करोगे और मैं जो जोक क्रैक करूंगी वो जोक पता नहीं चलेगा आपको. ये आप में सब, इट्स अ ह्यूमन टेंडेंसी. So one time we can focus on one thing. One time, if much of data is bombarded to you, you are not happy. You will close your eyes. If people are speaking so much, then you will not like that. And if something happens suddenly in a subtle way, then you will just surprise and listen to it. That's why it's a technical term. Three things are important for human brain to do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'm satisfied with the answer. Thank you.
One more question from my side.
Yes, Aarti?
Yes.
Yes, please.
From the day the FDP FDP has started, there is a discussion on the women leadership.
Okay.
Quite often, even yesterday's session, today's session, it started with how women are facing certain hurdles or how whether women are capable enough for the leadership. As a leader and being a woman leader, I would like to hear from you the hurdles which you faced or the opportunities which you got.
Open platform. Lot many males are here to listen to me.
No issue, ma'am. Everybody is grown.
I have to polish my statement. You want that or my personal experience?
Because from yesterday we had certain discussions on the women entrepreneurs or the women leaders.
Okay. No, it's quite you will say obvious. If no difference is there, why the government is going to give a reservation? Question number one. अगर कुछ डिफरेंस ही ना होता तो रिजर्वेशन की जरूरत ही नहीं थी. तो कुछ तो होगा ही. That means government is also encouraging. The private sector is also encouraging. There is a ceiling for the women leaders. This term is popularly used. Is there is a ceiling for men? Is that kind of a term is used, or is this exist? No term is this. Motherhood is always told. Fatherhood, how many times fatherhood is told? Now paternity leave has been granted in few of the organizations or government sector also. Previously it was also not there. So equality definitely is lacking. That is why this kind of people are talking of the equality. I was fortunate, maybe from my educated background, or my parents were educated. Even my mom, she is 84 years and she is PhD in psychology of her time. So you can say a PhD is a normal thing. Every person in our house is PhD, and doctors, medicos are there. Even my son, he is just BTech. We told them, "Tum ghar mein sabse kam padhe likhe ho. You are less educated in our house." So we just chase him. A BTech person is the less educated. Just on the lighter side, but other places, yes, females need to be empowered. Many places, females need to be empowered. When we are talking of SMEs, they go for something. There is always a male dominating society. Sometimes they get privilege, sometimes they get equality. So I think with the time, mindset of the people are changing. So female will get the equal opportunity. When we are sitting here, that means we are equally fortunate or given the opportunity to hold the same place, same post as the male fellows are having. That's it from my side.
Very true, ma'am. Presently, I am holding a position of head of the department. So
Okay.
I can make out that people are having a watch on you. Whether you are capable enough to perform your duties, how well you are performing means leave aside the men's side. But
Yes,
people
yes.
are very particular ki whether she is capable enough, how she reacts on this in this particular situation. That is what I'm experiencing.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. There are many other things which I cannot say.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you so much. Thank you. Anything else? Thank you, Akshay.
Yes. Yes. Uh, yes, please ask your question.
Last question, it is 3:25. No question is there. Aditya, just wind up.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for your kind
So,
words. I really enjoyed the
thank you.
session with your audience.
Yeah, it was in really a very good session, ma'am. Interactive one, and we all enjoyed a lot. Very informative and interactive.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gunmala. Thank you very much for the lovely and the wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm so thankful to you. You have given me the opportunity to interact this August gathering, and with you also. You have watching me like anything. I'm so thankful to you.
It's always my pleasure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All the participants. We will now end the session and we will meet again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with our next sessions from tomorrow onwards.
Dr. Suyash, can you give me a minute, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, participants, good afternoon. Tomorrow morning, I have the first session with you. In your WhatsApp group, I have written 2 assignments for you. So these are the pre-assignments. Pre-assignments means you have to do these assignments, very small assignments. One is that you have to note down the vision statement of your institution and write it down and hold it with you on your notebook. I may be asking you to explain your vision statement tomorrow. First thing. Second thing is, as an academician, whatever change, one change, single change you want to make in your class, you want to make in your department, you want to make in your college or university, please note down that change and bring it to the class. These are the 2 assignments, and I have already mentioned these 2 assignments on your WhatsApp group. So please don't miss these assignments. Do these 2 assignments and bring it in the class tomorrow. I have your class tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So you're welcome there. Thank you.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Do we need to do it in a Word file or we have to do it in a hard copy?
It's just one. You have to just note down the vision statement of your organization. You have to write down in your copy, and tomorrow bring it in my virtual class, online class.
All right, so means we are not supposed to submit it. We have to just read it.
Nothing. No. You need not to submit.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Can you share the attendance link once again, please?
Okay,
I'm
we'll
not
do
able
that.
to read.
Dr.
Yes,
Suyash?
thank you.
It is shared, ma'am. It is shared.
It is already shared in the chat. I will again share it.
I'm not able to reach it, sir. Actually,
If you are able to access the chat, you will be able to see the link
You can
in
put
the
it there.
chat.
It is there in the chat box. Please check.
please share it once again, sir, because I'm not able to reach it.
Ma'am, we have shared it thrice, just in 1 minute.
Share it once again.
Sir, can we end the session now? Okay, participants, now we will end this session here, and you can check the WhatsApp group from the message for message of Professor Madan sir, that what you have to do for tomorrow's lecture. You can check the WhatsApp group. Yes, we will be taking a group photo tomorrow morning, surely. And thank you for joining. We will now meet at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So try to come early so that we can start on time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.